Exceptional Saturday, so we have Aruna with us. She is a director with PureCorp, which is a sustainability organization. I'm sure she'll talk more about it. And she's also the president at the alumni for Harvard Women. Please, if I'm saying it correctly, correct me if I'm not, yeah. So she'll be talking a bit about sustainability. It's kind of like a part of life for all of us now. Most of us doing the MBA program also. Tomorrow morning in your organizations, you'll be probably adopting or adapting the sustainable elements, and the ones in design also definitely sustainability a part of our day-to-day lives. So I'd like to invite Aruna to please lead the way and talk about sustainability and in her own style and way. And anybody who's having plastic bottles, please watch out. All yours. Just watch out for this. Thank you. You guys are a bit warm because I know it's hot. I can put the AC off to make you warmer if you want. Thank you. And we are live on Instagram, so be cool, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. With your permission, I'm taking the mask off so that you hear me more clearly. Otherwise, you'll only hear a mumble. So, how are we doing today? Can I have a louder response? How are we doing today? Yay! Okay. So, before I start off, let me tell you, this is not going to be a boring talk. It's not going to be death by PowerPoint. It's not heavy-duty content. It's not an expert sharing something with someone else, but it's more a conversation just to share some of my ideas with you and pick the conversation from here on how we can exchange thoughts and what exactly this sustainability is all about, and does it really make sense for us in unlocking our own potential. So while we start at what it means to a business, as we move along, I'll be putting out some thoughts for you to look at how we can, all of us, adapt this framework into our personal and individual journeys. So hope you enjoy the next few minutes. So that's me. I work as the Director of Sustainability at PureCorp. PureCorp is a company that's focused on delivering sustainable solutions. So we are an open canvas. We look at what solutions are out there and try to take it to where it needs to be most relevant. So it's an open canvas. I do a lot of work there with the United Nations Global Compact, working with different partners. So my tryst with sustainability started a couple of years back, and I will walk you through that as we go through the presentation. So first of all, let's kind of decode some of these words, because we keep hearing this often, right? How now sustainability has kind of become a term which everybody uses without really knowing what it means and what does it relate to in a day-to-day scenario or in a day-to-day practical aspect. So let's just focus on sustainability for a minute, what it actually is. In simple terms, sustainability is just the ability to sustain. So the minute you say sustain, it's something over a long term. So it's not that I have something today and I'm out of it tomorrow. It's automatically talking about the ability to sustain over a period of time. So we are talking long term. And it's prosperity in perpetuity. So it's not that I want to have a job that pays me $1 million today, but then the company shuts shop tomorrow. That's not prosperity in perpetuity. I'd rather have a decent salary, but get it over a period of time so that my life is prosperity in perpetuity. I don't want to have tons of food today, but have nothing to eat tomorrow. I want something which will sustain me for a period of time. So sustainability in general is a sustained state of being for a long period of time. Now, I always love these cartoons because they kind of convey a message much better than what we can do in simple terms. So here you have father and son sitting on a pile of money. Everything is shambled and burnt out around them. So the dad says, at least we've made a lot of money before we've destroyed the environment. And the boy asks, yeah dad, what's there for dinner? While it might be, a bit cynical, a bit humorous, but that's actually where we will land up at if we don't stop and think about sustainability seriously. Because it's not about making the quick buck today. It's not about building a business that lasts for 2 or 3 years, but it's about, do you have things in the long term? What's the point in having millions in your bank account if your health doesn't allow you to enjoy a meal. What's the point in having millions in your account if you're not able to get good food without pesticides at your table? So it's not about being a corporate, socially responsible corporate, but it's just something which is simple logic for our day-to-day life. Now, while this might seem a bit complicated, let me put it down into a very simple model which, as organizations, as executives, when you step out into your jobs, you could look at. So sustainability looks at anything from three perspectives. And this is called the triple bottom line approach. I'm sure the fashion students or the MBA students would have definitely learned what is the bottom line. That's the number you report to your shareholders. So I have my revenue, all my costs are out, what's left onto the table is my bottom line. But here's a new approach which is called the triple bottom line. So typically we report financial numbers, right? Like what's my net profit, what is the return I've given to my investors. But the triple bottom line looks at anything that you do from three perspectives, and in a minute let's see what that is. So you have people, which is the first P of the triple bottom line. So as an organization, I can ask myself, am I being mindful of the effect my business does on people across the stakeholder groups, which is my employees, my clients, my suppliers, my investors? How can I explore and implement relevant initiatives which do not affect my people? Second thing is, the second P is planet. Are we being conscious of our environment impact? And as Sanjay mentioned, I'm a bully when it comes to people walking around with plastic bottles. I always carry mine with me. He's seen me carrying it, and probably today, all the bottles have gone in. But it's about walking the talk. Just by carrying this bottle for me for the past 2 or 3 years, the amount of plastic bottles that just as a person I have saved is humongous. Like, even if I take it a bottle a day, 600 bottles I personally have avoided using. And I do not feel shy walking into a restaurant with my water filled into this bottle. So I ask myself also as an organization, am I conscious of the choice my business makes in terms of carbon, in terms of water? And like we all talk about the Paris Climate Agreement, what is the temperature that this room's AC is set at? These are questions that we have to stand up and ask in areas where we run businesses. The fashion students may be asking, the materials that I'm using, where is it coming from? Can I replace it with something which is reusable, which is recyclable? And I'm not someone who shies away from saying that profit is important. Because when you have the profits on the table is where you can plow back things into people and into planet. So profit is important, and more than profit, prosperity is important. But when you take care of people and planet, the profit kind of comes onto the table, and it's very interesting how that works out. Because if you have a set of motivated people, if you're doing the right things, you'll always have a very successful business model. Now, before we go on to the next one, we have now kind of have a fair understanding of what sustainability is: people, planet, and profit. And when it comes together, you have, a good sustainable case or a business model. What is progress? Progress always has different definitions, but it's typically moving towards a goal. You're moving forward, you have a goal and you're moving towards it. Now, the reason why you see goal underlined here is it's very tricky what you set yourself as a goal. Because if you set yourself up to the wrong goal, this is what will happen, where you always feel that you've never reached your destination. You're not happy. Everyone on this pedestal, we assume they have moved the ladders, but everyone is, I'll never be good enough, because you're always having an elusive goal. And that doesn't leave you feeling happy, it always leaves you feeling stressed out, it leaves you feeling tired, because you've set a goal which you feel is not achievable and you're constantly running. It's like running on a treadmill. You are running, you're tired, you're wasting your energy, but you feel you haven't really moved forward. I used to exist in this zone before, and I'm just being candid in front of all of you. I always used to feel, I'm not good enough, when will I get there? I can see that pedestal that I want to get in, but when will I get there? That journey was very tiresome, and I felt I was constantly running towards something. Till I saw this picture. Look at how happy the guy who's got the 3rd place is, and the cry on the face of the person who got the 1st position. I'm like, you know what, my goal is kind of to exist in that zone where the kid is who's got the 3rd place, be happy, be excited about what comes my way, and not get to a goal and then feel lost and have lost out on family time, lose out on friends, lose out on my health, to be at a pedestal and then not be happy. So this, when I came across this picture a couple of years back, I'm like, you know what, that's a great visual reference for me to keep. I want to be here, I want to be happy, I want to be excited doing what I'm doing, and in the process get closer to my goal or to my progress. So when we say progress, it doesn't mean getting to somewhere at any cost. Progress means at the end of the day being happy, being cheerful, enjoying the moment. Because if you can't do that, there is no point of progress. And then came a question. So there are 2 of them here. In a work situation, we always have colleagues who also end up being competitors. So is my progress linked to yours? If you win in something, does it mean I lose? If there is a company that comes in for campus interviews all of you, they pick one, they don't pick the other, does that mean one person has lost and one person has gained? It's quite complicated, right? Because in the world that we live in now, competitiveness is considered to be a great asset. But the more I thought about it, it occurred to me that my progress is actually linked to your progress. Because today, more than ever, we live in a world where everything is connected. And I don't need to explain more. One little something that escaped from somewhere in the world has impacted every one of us today. But if some good thing happens somewhere, that will also affect all of us and impact us positively. So more than ever before, we all live in such a connected world today. One of my friends, Sharon, who did an expedition to the Arctic, she said, Aruna, when I was looking through the depths of ice when they were doing their research, she said she found traces of a volcanic eruption that happened in Indonesia. The ashes from that were buried under the layer of snow in the Arctic. And she's like, it just occurred to me that we live in such a connected world, there is no throwing out. It is a connected ecosystem. So if you win and I lose, or if I win at your cost, then we're kind of pushing all of us down. So we live in an absolutely connected world more than ever, and having this as a context has really helped me personally look at life and look at growth and look at progress very differently. So now let's try and apply the 3 pillars of sustainability towards our individual progress. We looked at it from an organization standpoint. Can I apply the same model to my life or to your life? People. Charity begins at home. So the first question when I ask myself is, am I focusing on my well-being when I'm doing my run towards my progress? Or am I burning myself out? How can I support people in their journey? So I've taken care of myself, my well-being, my health. How can I support others? And then I go to the larger community. Is there anything I can contribute to the community? Either here or back home or any other part of the world. So as an individual, these are questions I constantly ask myself. Am I focusing on my well-being? That's not being selfish. Am I focusing on well-being? How am I helping others? And how am I helping my community? When it comes to planet, few questions that I usually ask myself. I become more mindful about my consumption? Classic example. Can I be more mindful? It takes me a minute to fill my water bottle when I leave home. Can I be more mindful? Students who do the fashion designing, design, do interior designing. I know students did the reception desk. Is there a way you could use recycled resources? Is there a way you could use something which was thrown by someone but you kind of refurbish it and you upcycle it? How can my work contribute to positive environmental impact? I know some of you here are into businesses where sustainability is the core. So when you're stepping out there, when you're choosing jobs, when you're wanting to start businesses, you could ask yourself, how is my work going to contribute? And this question actually led me to completely shift my profession from being a management marketing professional to being a sustainability professional today. And where can I influence others? So you are doing what you think is right, a well-informed decision, but where can you use your influence to influence others to change their behavior? And then coming to profit, again, as I said, I'm not someone who shies away from the fact that cash makes the world go round. We all need funds to then deploy it in the right place. So is my revenue model sustainable? I'm at a job today. Do I know if this job is going to be relevant 10 years from now, 5 years from now? Or is a bot or an AI app going to overtake what I'm doing today? How can I diversify my risk? The way careers and jobs are being looked at today is going to be very different 5 years down the line. You would have very few jobs that pay you those fat salaries, but you may have 3 opportunities where you can split your time in a day and invest your time in 3 initiatives and probably bring more to the table. So how can I diversify my risk of just being tied to one aspect? And with whom can I collaborate to create a win-win partnership? So these are questions that as an individual, I constantly ask myself and embed the triple bottom line approach that we use in business into my personal life. And it has indeed helped me unlock a lot of the hidden opportunities or potential rather than me just existing in my comfort zone. Now, I'm someone who loves to share real life stories because until you have a real life example, this is just a beautiful graphic which is on the screen. I'm not going to take much time, but I'll leave with you with 4 real life stories. I'm not going to give you too many names, but 4 real life stories which I have experienced within the group of people I know. First one, a young Greek entrepreneur. He's about aged 27 now, was working in a very plush insurance job, did undersea diving one of the days with his friends and saw that the water was very murky, water clarity. And he was like, this is not how it used to be when I used to dive as a child. And he figured out that the Egan Mollissima sponge which grows in Greece, because of excess harvesting, that's the sponge in the fashion beauty students would know you use as a face scrub, had got extinct because of over harvesting. He threw his job aside and in effect literally took a plunge and started a business where he now cultivates the extremely rare Egan Mollissima sponge. He chose to walk a path which probably a lot of people told him was a stupid move. But today he's been identified and recognized as Forbes 30 under 30 in Greece. And you know what he does? His sponges, face sponges are, it's a premium product, and he only puts this much in a bottle. The sponge size is this much. Typically when you go to a store, the sponges are this big. And I asked him, why is it so tiny? Why would someone pay 50 euros for something this tiny? And he said, Aruna, actually to clean your face, you only need this much. And by putting it at this size, I'm driving a message home to my consumers that you don't need this much. You only need this much. And I was like, wow, that's, in an era where everyone looks at giving their consumers more, here is an entrepreneur who stands up and says, I won't reduce the price of my product. I'd rather sell it to consumers who see the value in it rather than make it a mass market product. Amazing success story where he looked at his community, so he works with the local fishing community to do the diving. He looked at planet, and this business is yielding him profits today because he's created a business which did not exist. Another very dear friend of mine, Hanan, a feisty dreamer, and very, very assertive brand leader, worked with some of the largest brands in this region, has now found her passion for olive oil, and she's bringing olive oil to the space where you put wine, because wine is considered to be a high-end luxury life product, and she is working on responsibility cultivating olives to bring olive oil to the pedestal that it needs to be. And that's a dream that she's followed because she probably asked herself some of those questions. Another good friend of mine, high influential banker, has worked in different departments within banking, could have invested in time and energy on building his profile in banking, but he chose to become a leadership coach. Because he said, I really get a high when I see people progress. He said, while my banking job is there and I love doing it, I found my passion when I see people grow. And he chose to add this on to his profile as something that he would like to do. And the last, of course, is my own story from strategy to sustainability. I used to work in the IT sector, consulting, a lot of nice PowerPoint presentations, talk to people about strategy. When I came to Dubai, I was offered a job in a waste management company. And a lot of people asked me, are you sure, consulting, IT to waste management? I said, this seems more real, let me give it a shot. And I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the fact that my work allows me to keep the waste out of the landfill. Till then, for me, waste meant putting something in a bin and forgetting about it. But this job helped me explore from the point it's in the bin, what is the journey it takes and how can I impact the fact that it does not end up in a landfill but can get recycled or upcycled then. In an effect, I left a marketing career and a management career of 18 years to take a complete shift in direction and get into sustainability as a full-time role. So just looking at life from these three perspectives of people, planet and profit can open up completely new avenues for you and help you tap areas which you would have earlier never thought about. So I don't want to leave you with case studies from outside, but from stories which I have seen and experienced from people whom I know around me. It's a very interesting road ahead. December is usually that time of the year when we all introspect and reflect, and some of us make a lot of hollow promises to ourselves on December 31st. But I'd like to leave you with some things to consider as a reflection, as an introspection. It's an interesting road ahead. There's a reason why it's not just flat and straight. It does have its ups and downs. 2020 nevertheless was a very interesting year. I don't want to say positive or negative, but a very interesting year for all of us. I think most of us have learned that it's not a year to get what we wanted, but to be grateful for what we have. So as you move along to 2021 and you introspect and sit down with a piece of paper and work out your road ahead, ask yourself those questions. Be very, very truthful and answer those questions for yourself. Chase new experiences. There's a lot out there, and this is the time when things are volatile. It's the best time to chase new experiences. Push the boundaries. Ask why not. Push the boundaries in terms of whatever area you are operating in. And at the end of the day, be that little kid who is happy getting the third prize. Probably there were only 3 of them who ran the race, but he's still happy that he got the third prize. Just focus on celebrating every moment, because time is precious, and let's be grateful and thankful for what we have with us right now. So in doing all of this, unlocking your potential, running towards your purpose, don't miss out on celebrating the moments. And I'm very happy to have shared this afternoon with all of you. I hope you found this interesting. And on the note of celebration, I think I should call Sanjay over. And
You said celebrations.